All right, it is Beyond the Box Score time. Advanced stats from the simplest people you could possibly get. Adam and Dan here today on Fantasy Football Today, presented by BetMGM. Make it legendary. Happy Monday, Dan. What's going on?
How are you today? We are as simple. It is as simple as it gets. When we pull back the studs and Jacob's not on the show, you just break it down to a level that is almost unheard of.
Yeah. I'm not going to lie. There's no reason to listen to the show today. You're not going to get anything out of it. Maybe some entertainment, but
that's not true. You got a lot of research. Adam put a ton of time into this, and we've got a lot of stats coming your way. We got a lot of players to talk about. So, and to answer the questions in the chat, no, I have not watched Rocky yet.
It's not even a question. It's not going to.
That was asked in the chat.
I know, but it was a silly question. It's not going to happen probably ever. Can I share?
No, it will happen. I have to do it now.
You've been saying this.
No, I have not been saying until this last show on Friday. I did not say I was planning to watch it. Now I am saying I have to watch it.
No, but there have been other movies where you said I'm going to. All right, forget it.
What, Matchstick Men?
Yeah, Matchstick Men. I think Braveheart. I
never said I was going to watch Braveheart.
You should.
I don't even. Is Braveheart the Mel Gibson one, or is that the other one?
Mm-hmm. Sure is. So I had an email today with this guy Matthew, and his the subject line was, he actually emailed me Sunday. He said, Dan Balboa, the urban jump shooter. So he emailed me. Okay, he emailed me Saturday with a bunch of start-sit questions, and he emailed me again today just to say thank you. So I went back and I looked at my answers, and I gave him such terrible advice.
Bad?
Oh, horrible.
What were they?
One thing I told him to start Purdy over Dak, and he actually didn't listen to that advice, but the rest of it was just awful. And I felt really bad, and I apologized. And he said, it's a crazy game we play, and while I love all the prep and data, we just never know. It's the journey of prepping for each week that I love. And I appreciated that so much because I felt really bad. I just felt like I gave bad advice yesterday. I'm kind of reeling. It was a
wacky week. We knew it when we were on Sunday's show. You did it all morning, but there was a segment with me, you, and Jacob, and we were kind of going over a lot of these start-sit calls, and a lot of them were, Likely was involved in them, who had a nothing burger. That's a killer for anyone. We said, if you're playing Likely, the matchup is great, but the volume's not there. I feel like that was the case for a lot of the plays on this week's slate. Even a player like Watson who got hurt, we weren't trusting the volume. It was a tough week, but there were some good calls in there. I think we like Tracy, who had a big week for starters.
I didn't see this coming from Tracy, but 2 touchdowns. But yeah, we'll talk about him because he had a season high in snap share, which was encouraging. Kind of felt like they were just riding the hot hand a little bit, which I feel like they've done since Scadaboo got hurt, but I'll defer to you on that. Tracy's one guy we're going to talk about. Joe Burrow, Kyle Pitts, Trevor Lawrence. Can you trust him against the Denver Broncos? I believe the Jaguars in their last 6 games have run 37 plays in which they have been trailing.
Wow.
Yeah, and 23 of them, I want to say, were against Arizona.
Unreal.
They've been leading 5 of the last 6 games. They've led almost the entire game. That's not going to be the case next week at Denver, which is a tough matchup. Let's talk about Sunday Night Football. Minnesota 34 and Dallas 26. You said earlier on our little mic check, his best game that J.J. McCarthy's played in the NFL. Hard to dispute that. And he was 15 of 24, 250 yards, 2 touchdowns, interception on his first pass attempt. He also rushed for a touchdown. He did the gritty or whatever. Yeah. And apparently Kevin O'Connell was not happy about it. But this is 2 straight games with more than 26 fantasy points for J.J. McCarthy. That is awesome. Washington and Dallas. And he's at the Giants next week. And then he gets Detroit. Holy cow. Are we buying in?
For the end of the season, to an extent, yeah. I don't think we're buying into the point where we're going to be going over start sits this week and telling you to start JJ over X quarterback in your 1 quarterback league semifinals, because that will probably be taking it too far. There's still dud potential, but as far as 2 quarterback leagues, super flex, I have him in my home league right now. I feel pretty good about it moving forward. He runs, and the thing is, there was a moment in this game. It was back-to-back plays where he play action. It felt a little bit like the Darnold, Mullins, Cousins version of the Kevin O'Connell offense for the first time in so long. It was back-to-back plays. He ran play action and then hit that seam ball to Hawkinson, which I thought Kevin O'Connell did a great job after the game describing as a runner's ball. And that's a big thing with quarterbacks. A lot of quarterbacks are generally accurate, but they don't throw runner's ball, which allows for yards after the catch. That was a little bit hot, but it was close to the perfect runner's ball. But then the next play, he has Jefferson on the crosser, and he just kind of overshoots it a little bit. He did get hit.
He got hit
on that. So, but it's just like that was the moment where I thought it was all about to click, where he went back to back. It felt like the old O'Connell offense. But fact of the matter is, he throws with great velocity. I think O'Connell keeps talking about the RPMs. You could see it in the red zone. You could see it on those deep crossers and on the seam balls. It's all kind of about putting it all together from a footwork and a timing standpoint, and it is getting better. But what that means is chunk plays, explosive plays are possible, I think, in this offense with him at quarterback when they weren't necessarily there for a player like Wentz. I still don't feel all that great about where I'm at with Jefferson. Obviously, the 8 targets looks nice, and they are trying to get him the football, especially in the red zone, which is great. A touchdown could save him for you if you're starting him in your semifinals, but it's just hard for me to feel great about it. Hawkinson's the real interesting one, just given the state of the tight end position.
Yeah, Hawkinson, I feel like I'll expect maybe 8 to 10 fantasy points, but it could be worse than that, obviously. The weird thing is they're barely throwing. I mean, he's thrown 23 and 24 pass attempts in his last 2 games because they've been winning. I mean, they blew out the Commanders. I think it was 31-0 or something last night. They threw 4 passes in the fourth quarter, I want to say.
Right.
In a 34-6 win. Yeah, he had 4 pass attempts in the fourth quarter. So you can't expect great production from McCarthy with 23 or 24 pass attempts. But on the other hand, the Giants are so bad defensively right now. And, you know, that it is on the road. It's going to be cold weather. So I don't know how he'll do with that. But there's an opportunity here. For Jefferson, he's the first player all year to get 8 or more targets against the Cowboys and not score 14 or more PPR fantasy points. He scored 4.2. He had 2 catches for 22 yards on 8 targets. Now, he had a touchdown called back on an illegal shift.
Right.
It was a short touchdown, but it was a touchdown nonetheless. And then he was open in the end zone. He was open for that chunk play you mentioned. He was open in the end zone, and ball went through his hands. It's on him, but really, like it was another fastball. When I think it really needed to be
all fastballs from JJ McCarthy. There's no pace he doesn't know how to change the pace.
Yeah. So, but it was a more encouraging game than what we saw.
I shouldn't say that, by the way. I want to take that back. He did change the pace on that out and up route to Addison where he threw a back shoulder. That was actually a nice job of him of taking a little something off the ball. So he's getting there, hopefully, as a quarterback. But right now, specifically in the red zone, it looks like it's all one speed.
So the Vikings running backs, they basically have been splitting carries evenly for the last 3 weeks. And Mason was in near the goal line on multiple occasions in this game. Jones is going to catch the passes. Mason has 4 catches in his last 9 games. And you probably wouldn't want to start Jones or Mason, except the Giants are almost an historically bad run.
Yeah.
All right.
You can start that. Like, as we move forward and we're going to be fielding our questions this Sunday, Adam, about, should I start Isaiah Likely or blah, blah, blah? Like, no. I'll play the Vikings backs. I'll play the backs in an amazing matchup against the quit Giants defense that Bill Merritt just ripped off 20 points on.
Merritt? Who's Merritt?
I always call him Merritt for some reason. Throughout time, I've called him Merritt. I can't figure that one out.
And you forgot the Krosky, too.
I just had to quickly go to Merritt because I knew I was screwing it up. I was already too far deep on that one.
Oh, man.
But no, like I'll probably suggest to play Aaron Jones in any kind of half or full PPR league. Fine. Mason, maybe not, but like there'll be worse plays than getting the Giants defense. There will be a lot worse plays on the schedule. Even players of more volume, just in bad matchups.
All right, so let's talk about the Cowboys here, because not only did they have a bad matchup against the Vikings, who are just so good, now they are facing a team that allows the fewest fantasy points to quarterbacks and the fewest fantasy points to wide receivers next week. It'll be a home game against the Chargers. So Dak Prescott scores 12 fantasy points. He did throw for 294 yards. Last week, he threw for 320 yards. Oh, no, sorry. That was against the Chiefs. I'm sorry. Last week, he threw for 376 yards. So the production the last couple of weeks has been disappointing, but it's mostly because he has 1 touchdown to 2 interceptions.
Right.
I think it'll be a challenge against the Chargers, but you know how it's going to be. I mean, they're just going to throw and throw and throw. You're going to start Javonte, assuming he's healthy. He ran one route the entire game. So he missed most of the first half.
Yeah.
Came back, really brilliantly, and basically just kept coming out of the game for Malik Davis. But if Javonte's healthy, you're going to start him. But he really barely plays. Like, he came in the game, carried the ball, and left for much of the second half. Then there's Lamb. You're going to start him. Ferguson is I don't know that he's a start next week. He's facing the Chargers, who are one of the best against tight ends. But we'll talk about that next week.
I'd rather start Colby Parkinson than Jake Ferguson next week.
Without Adams against the Seahawks, that's very, very intriguing. My issue with Parkinson is that he's been really good. They throw to so many different tight ends.
Oh, yeah. There's nothing good about Parkinson's not some kind of amazing play based on volume or any kind of logic we usually follow. It's the end of the fantasy season. He scores a touchdown on one of the best offenses, and Devontae's now out of that red zone offense most likely. I mean, Ferguson has devolved into a basically Parkinson, but worse.
All right, now Pickens. I don't know if you watched the tape.
Not yet.
I did.
It's disappointing.
Look, wide receivers, they don't run full speed on every route, right? Not even close. There's a lot of just kind of jogging, and they're not the primary target, whatever. He spent most of the night, to me, sort of jogging, and I'm not going to make any. I don't know enough, because people are saying, oh, he's dogging it out there for the second week in a row. But I went back and I watched some of his routes, just the first 4 or 5 routes against the Chiefs from 3 weeks ago, and compared to the ones I saw last night, I am seeing a big difference. Does that mean it's going to happen again next week? I'm pretty sure I'm going to start George Pickens next week, but he had 6 targets, 38 pass attempts. It's concerning here. Minnesota is terrific against receivers, so this shouldn't be a shock. But so are the Chargers. What's your faith level in Pickens?
Yeah, obviously, when I said I didn't watch tape, I meant I didn't watch the all 22 for those in the comments. I would like to go back and see what you're talking about from an individual route standpoint. But from a secondary standpoint, something that I found insanely troubling. Did you hear what Collinsworth said on the broadcast?
No.
About Pickens? It was wild. I don't think I've ever heard this about a wide receiver. Like, I don't know if I've ever heard this about any football player. He said that Dak Prescott told him in meetings this week that last week he could see it in Pickens' eyes that he wasn't all there. So he said, I was just going to keep going to CeeDee Lamb. Could see it in his eyes. He's like, you just see it in his eyes. He wasn't engaged in the game. That's crazy, dude. I've never heard that said about an athlete before. Like, he just wasn't there. Like, I could see it in his eyes. That is not like, and Dak's like, it's all right. We're going to get him back on track or whatever. But like, the fact that he could get to a point where he could not be engaged in a game is just not great. It sucks for me because my 2 big flag plan calls on Beyond the Box Score before the season were James Cook and Pickens, and they look like big wins. But now Pickens is the type of player who might just kill you in your fantasy playoffs, right? Like, it's hard to feel confident about where he's at as we end this season. Dallas, I don't know what their plan is. They're out of the playoffs. Are they going to rest starters at some point?
Not officially.
I'm worried about that.
They're not officially out of the playoffs, but they're 99.9% out of the playoffs. They have to win out, and the Eagles have to lose out.
Yeah.
And the Cowboys will win.
I mean, part of the problem is also, like, they're down to their 3rd string left tackle, right? So last night they had their 2nd string in at left tackle. He got hurt, and they brought in some guy who played left guard for them earlier this season. When you have that situation, you have to cut off a big portion of your playbook. You can't run 5-7 step drop, deep play action dropbacks, trying to get the vertical game going. Pickens becomes kind of a slant or nothing winner, maybe a back shoulder off a quick drop. But like, it does limit what they're going to do in the passing game if they are going to be playing their 3rd string left tackle moving forward.
All right. I didn't really think that was the issue yesterday. I mean, Collinsworth was talking about that. The tackles kind of held up decently yesterday, but Pickens,
there's a lot of quick game. Yeah.
Pickens just wasn't, I don't know, man.
No, the Pickens thing is weird.
Great, but I'm not an expert on route running, so I'll defer to the experts. But obviously, people saw it last week, and Dak confirmed it based on what you relayed from Collinsworth. All right, so we are going to have so many tough calls in Week 16 because we've got like backup running backs and we've got good players with tough matchups. It's just going to be a really tough week again, but we'll help you sort it out. Now it's time for football at BetMGM. Register with BetMGM. It's a great time of year to register with BetMGM, people. All right, fun football games to look at, and you'll get instant access to the best variety of parlay selection features, no sweat and boost tokens, live betting options, and much more. New players can receive up to $1,500 back in bonus bets with the bonus code FANTASY if they don't win their first bet. You don't want to miss out on any of the hard-hitting action at BetMGM. Place your money line, parlay bets, and more today. BetMGM, make it legendary. And remember, the bonus code is FANTASY if you want that.
Oh, yeah.
I'm looking at some Super Bowl odds.
Yeah, what are you liking? It's a weird year.
I like the Ravens because right now they're not even in the playoffs.
Ugh.
They have to win their division.
Okay.
But if they were, I think they are 20 plus 2,500. The AFC to me is so wide open.
It is.
The Ravens scare me if they get in.
I don't hate this call.
Their defense is playing well. Lamar was obviously hurt. If you get a healthy Lamar, I mean, they just blanked the Bengals. That's pretty impressive. You get a healthy Lamar, they've got a shot here. And I think they're going to win the division. I think the Steelers are going to choke.
I don't hate this call. I think the Steelers could even lose this game tonight against the Dolphins, quite honestly. It's the type of game that Tomlin loses when he's favored on the I think they're on the road.
Two in this weather scares me, but you're right.
Two in this weather is scary, but they've just been running the ball. They become a run-first offense, which is really big reason I think they'll have a shot in this game. Mm-hmm. We'll see. But it's an interesting call because I certainly don't feel confident in the Broncos, though Nick's played his best game of the year, and I want to become a believer. I'm not, but I want to become one. The Patriots scare me. The Bills, there's some issues on defense that I'm not sure they'll be able to. It's not a bad call by you. I don't hate it. I think the Jags are interesting. Someone mentioned them in the comments. I don't know if they're ready to go to the Super Bowl, but Lawrence is finally playing the best football of his career. Even the Texans are interesting to me. I love that defense, but it's going to be an interesting AFC. I don't know what's going to happen. Even the NFC, I don't feel fully confident the Rams are just going to roll.
No, I think I wouldn't want to face the Eagles.
I'm off that train. I don't think the Eagles are going anywhere.
I see where you're coming from, but every team has flaws. The Eagles,
if you had to pick a Super Bowl right now, what would it be? You have to do
right now. I would say, no.
It's so hard.
I don't know. I mean, is it? Yeah. Ugh. Dude, I have no
idea. if the funny thing is
Chiefs Eagles.
What'd you say? Chiefs Eagles? Chiefs Eagles, yeah. The funny thing is if they were coming back for the playoffs, if Slater and Joe Alt were still on the Chargers, I would pick the Chargers. Happily. I would happily pick the Chargers. Their defense is unreal, and they'd actually be able to throw the ball because Herbert's amazing. You just can't do it with two backup tackles. But they're not, so they're going to be screwed on offense this postseason. I think for me, it's the Bills finally do it. Josh Allen's been there. He's had the experience in the playoffs, and he's so hard to stop if you give him the ball at the end. And it's been Mahomes killing him for so many years. Mahomes is gone. So I'm going with the Bills, and I'm hopeful because that fan base deserves it, in my opinion. I mean, I won't say more than any other. Obviously, there's Jets fan base and stuff like that, but they deserve it, the Bills. And I'll go Bills versus Rams. I think the Rams with the home field advantage will be able to do it. And I just don't. It's to me, it's one of those West teams. I don't think it's going to be Darnold. And I don't. The Niners, Rams, or Bears, do I want to say? No, I'm going to go Rams, Bills, and Bills win it all.
Okay. I don't have a prediction. I can't.
Even with a bad defense.
I can't. I asked a friend of mine, who do you think is going to win the Super Bowl? I asked him on Friday night, and he's like, let me think about that. And he texted me on Sunday. So he had 2 days to figure it out. He said
it's a weird year. It's going to be interesting.
All right, let's take a break and come back with your news and notes, some snap counts, and 5 players that you wanted to hear about. We'll talk about that. Our 5 big things coming up.
You can't count on accurate expiration dates.
No, that is a rookie mistake.
Or the kindness of strangers. But thanks to CBS Sports, you can always count on Sundays with the NFL on CBS and Paramount Plus.
Okay, Patrick Mahomes, torn ACL. There's your quarterback news. Jalen Warren is questionable tonight. So you know what to do if he doesn't play. You start Kenneth Gainwell if you have him. But yeah, Jalen Warren's questionable with an illness. Hopefully he's able to play. Javonte Williams, chest. Woody Marks, ankle. Apparently was good enough to come back in. Gets the Raiders next week. RJ Harvey, rib injury. I've not seen anything on this RJ Harvey rib injury. Bajal Tootin left with a finger injury. Devin Neal, hamstring. Zonovan Knight, I think it was an ankle injury for Zonovan Knight. There was some update that I'll get in a minute. Christian Watson has a chest injury, but not a bad one. Not a long-term injury. Hopefully we can get him back this week at Chicago. Much better matchup than what he just dealt with. Luther Burden left with an ankle injury. He only played, I think he played less than half the snaps.
Right.
So, maybe
Did you mention Marks or no?
I did. Yeah.
What's the Marks situation? Do we have any update on that
He
yet?
could have come back in the game.
Okay.
According to D'Amico Ryans. So Bam Knight has a bad ankle injury, according to Adam Schefter, and is unlikely to play this week against Atlanta. All right. Tyquan Thornton's in the concussion protocol. Ricky Pearsall lipped up. I think it was a knee injury for Pearsall. Got Van Jefferson hurt. Tyler Lockett hurt. Devon Vele. Oh, this one I didn't know about yesterday either. Devon Vele got hurt.
Wow.
He didn't play at all in the fourth quarter. Not much in the second half, I believe. He's been playing.
That way Olave finally got targets in the end of the game.
That way. Yep. And Devontae Adams is, I would call him unlikely for this week. Hopefully back next week. Don't know that. But Sean McVay himself said it's going to be tough for Adams to get back for a third
this week, game. Right? Oh, brutal for me.
Gunnar Helm left, but he came back. You mentioned the Dallas offensive line. Also, the Chiefs offensive line still beat up. Packers got a little injured with their right tackle, Zach Tom, leaving. Kevin Zeitler for the Titans left with a groin injury. Okay. On defense, the big defensive injuries would be Micah Parsons, but also he's got a torn ACL. But also Evan Williams, their safety, left with a knee injury, though it's not expected to be serious. You had Quinnen Williams for the Cowboys is in the concussion protocol. Or at least he was left with a head injury. I think it's a concussion for Quinnen Williams. And you've got 3 safeties for the Titans left with injuries. One of them's a special teams guy, but 2 safeties that were basically every down players for Tennessee left with injuries. They get the Chiefs this week. And the Jets lost 2 defensive backs. The Jets defense didn't show up. Didn't show up. Terrible.
Sorry, I'm laughing at the comments. Johnny Airport's leaning in. One of our best commenters is leaning into the whole "he's Thomas" thing. He says, as a Vikings fan, I was bummed when Hunter went to Houston. And we don't have proof that Thomas and Airport are not the same person. Nobody has proven that yet.
They were chatting with each other before the show.
That could have been a burner.
Yeah, it could have been 2 computers easily.
Could have been Thomas on a burner easily.
Yeah, I think we all feel that way. All right, snap counts and other stats to know. Weird game for Breece Hall. He was out-snapped by Isaiah Davis in the third quarter and the fourth quarter. Breece Hall played only 55% of the snaps. He had been over 70%, but it was a terrible week for him. The Jets, I forget who they get this week. They have a good matchup, though. And that's usually when he does well. I think they have a good matchup. I'll tell you in 1 second. They play the Saints on the road. Okay, how about this? I've been trying to make the case Trey McBride is the fantasy MVP. Since Jacoby Brissett took over, there are 2 non-quarterbacks averaging more PPR fantasy points per game than Trey McBride. Can you name them? That was starting in week 6.
Give me since say it again, the whole thing.
Yeah. Since Jacoby Brissett took over in week 6, only 2 non-quarterbacks are averaging more fantasy points per game than Trey McBride. Can you name them? McBride is averaging 23.3 PPR fantasy points per game.
I thought he was wide receiver 6 overall. I thought I read today, but I guess that's on the season. So this is just since that breaking point where Brissett came in, which really saved his fantasy season and made him this dominant player, McBride. So 2 players would be McCaffrey.
Yep.
Of course. Goes without saying. And Gibbs.
Yep.
Okay.
They're both about a point per game better than
But it is insane. McBride's essentially winning leagues for people.
He's averaging, for the season, he's averaging 19 points per game, which would be the second best season of Travis Kelce's career. Kelce's only had 1 year where he's been better than 19. Wow. And I think Kelce is, believe it or not, Kelce is tight end 2 per game this year at 12.6 fantasy points per game. Oh, wait, no,
that can't be true.
I'm sorry.
That cannot.
He's tight end 2 overall because Kittle.
Even so.
Kittle missed time. Bowers missed time.
Bowers stinks for us for fantasy, unfortunately.
All right, other snap counts to know about. Michael Carter played 80% of the snaps. Amari Mercado played 12%.
Carter is going to be somebody we're going to be telling potentially in big start sits a lot of spots.
But Atlanta, I thought Atlanta was a great matchup. They really haven't been that bad against running backs lately. Quarterbacks, yes. Kamani Vidal played 64% of the snaps. Omarion Hampton, 36%. That's just basically Hampton doesn't play passing downs. Same thing with Travion Henderson. Henderson ran 8 routes. Ramondre Stevenson outsnapped him. Tyrone Tracy, in snap share, ran a lot of routes. He's been kind of up and down in the routes run. 2 of the last 3 weeks have been very high. When Christian Watson got hurt, we saw big snap share increases for Romeo Doubs, Jaden Reed, not really actually, kind of kept his role, but Dontavian Wicks and Matthew Golden. But Doubs was the one who had an 82% route participation rate in the second half.
Still don't feel good about playing him, though, this week.
No,
he had to.
Really slumping. Chuba Hubbard remains the third down back for the Panthers. No surprise. Troy Franklin had a big game, and you thought, oh, it's because Pat Bryant didn't play and a big increase in role. Not really. Troy Franklin played only 50% of the snaps. He just made the most of them. And he ran 61% of the routes, which was a big increase from last week where he was about 37% of the routes, but it was about the same as 2 weeks before. It's lower than what we usually saw from Franklin before Pat Bryant emerged. So he was actually, he ran fewer routes than Lil Jordan Humphrey. So I just wanted to point that out with Franklin. It's not like everything was golden again. He just happened to have a great game. And Brian Thomas Jr. had a really good game. 4 catches, 66 yards, and a touchdown on 7 targets. He also dropped a pretty easy touchdown, and he dropped a much less easy deep ball, would have been about a 35-yard catch. So he was pretty close to having 6 catches for about 108 yards and 2 touchdowns on 7 targets, Brian Thomas Jr. Yeah. By the way, both of his drops were immediately followed up by Travis Etienne touchdown catches. Yeah. So Etienne has BTJ to thank. All right, you ready for 5 big things?
Let's do it.
All right, I asked everybody for who do you want to hear about, so I got 5 that I saw in the responses. But before we dive into your 5 big things this week, a quick shout out to Amazon Prime. Need last-minute holiday gifts? Prime's fast, free shipping has you covered, so you can focus on the plays, not the stress. Holiday wins delivered? It's on Prime. All right, here we go. 5 big things. We start with Trevor Lawrence. As big as it gets, most fantasy points by any player in any game this season, 54.1 in 6-point per passing touchdown leagues. Most fantasy points in over a year. Josh Allen topped that in week 14 of 2024. But it's now 4 straight good games, 23.1 or more fantasy points for Lawrence at Arizona, at Tennessee, Indianapolis, and the Jets. Unfortunately, Dan, we are at the Broncos this week. So what do you think about Lawrence?
Well, we've talked about him now on BTB for like 2 or 3 straight weeks, just grinding tape on him. These last 2 weeks before this one, I haven't seen the film yet on this game, were the 2 best games of his career on tape by far. And what I think is him and Liam Cohen coming together, understanding what is, like, conceptually speaking, what is the best way to maximize his skill set as a thrower. Because he's not the best touch thrower. He doesn't have the best over-the-top touch on deep passes. But he can drive the football, man. And he can drive it in those intermediate dig routes and on those crossing deep overs and crossers, breaking toward the middle of the field, but also breaking on the outs. And that's what we're starting to see, just these explosive shot play abilities for him. A big part of this, I think, because just from watching the last 2 games on tape, again, I didn't see this one, but so I can't confirm, has been just the emergence and arrival of Jacoby Myers, because he's provided that solution for him underneath so he can read high to low and come to that Myers low, and it's there a lot. Like, Myers just knows where to be in zone coverage, and they talked about that this week. I believe it was the Jags offensive coordinator. I'm blanking on his name, but he discussed that importance of his role in the offense. So I feel really confident about where Lawrence is at. The question is, and he runs, right? Like, that's a good part of his game too, right? 51 rushing yards and a rushing TD. It's huge. He's not just that stationary quarterback. The question is, can it continue against the Broncos defense that is elite, but at the same time, like, some offensive schemes have figured out how to move it, right? We just saw 2 weeks ago, Marcus Mariota was able to move the ball pretty successfully, in that Washington Commanders offense and their scheme with Kingsbury was able to move it successfully. It's Liam Cohen against outmatched maybe from a personnel standpoint, but I'm pretty confident. Like, I would start Lawrence for sure this week. I wouldn't bench him.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Not that confident. I think I watched the tape of the last 2 games, and obviously I'm never going to be able to, well, I wouldn't say never, but I'm not going to be able to be like talking about all the things that Dan talked about. It's very impressive the way you look at tape. But the one thing that just so obviously jumps out has been the pass protection the last 2 weeks.
Yeah.
Against the Colts and the Jets, who do not have good pass rushers. They are currently ranked 24th and 30th in pressure rate. And each of the last 2 weeks, Jacksonville has been 4th best in pressure rate allowed. When they faced Houston 6 weeks ago, they were 28th. They haven't really faced a good pass rush since then. The best would be probably the Chargers, and they were 11th that week. Were they 11th that week? They were 10th, 10th that week. And so they did well. The offensive line is playing well, but they haven't really been challenged. The schedule has been as good as it gets.
True.
Denver can really get after it. I don't know if they still lead the NFL in sacks, but I'm pretty sure they led the NFL sacks coming into last week's game. How good has Jordan Love looked recently, right? He's playing great football. And what did he score? 16 points yesterday. Got off to a good start. I actually think losing Watson really hurt him.
Yes.
And Brian Thomas Jr. is kind of Christian Watson right now. He's doing everything pretty much downfield, but he's making plays typically. I know he had a couple of drops, but so there, I could see it. I could see it with Lawrence because he's
in Denver or Jacksonville.
That's the problem. It's in Denver.
That sucks.
In Denver, the quarterbacks who have done well against Denver, they've all been in Denver road games except for Jackson Dart.
I was glad you said that. I was about to say you better not forget about that.
They've been Daniel Jones, Jalen Hurts, Jackson Dart, Mariota, and believe it or not, the Vegas quarterback scored 21.5 fantasy points. I am leaning sit Trevor Lawrence.
I think you might be right,
but I might be wrong. But you are definitely going to start him at the.
I'm not making my decision yet, though, on him.
No. But they have the.
What is he on the season? You'd be surprised to hear how high he is on the season. I bet at QB, just given the consistency he's had, and now this explosive week, I guarantee he's top 8.
Let's see. I think he's going to be close.
He was my big sleeper at the position preseason, so I'm hoping it was him and Stroud who both sucked forever, and now
he's
both
currently 8th per game.
8th per game. Okay.
Would you like to know what he was last week or 2 days ago?
Before this, probably in like the 12 to 14 range, right?
Let's see. Look that up. Say if you are in the CBS Commissioner product, this is a cool feature. You can go to your stats page. You can click on Custom Report. Type in all quarterbacks, time frame, click select dates. We'll go week 1 to week 14. And then you will be able to see where Trevor Lawrence ranked. And you'll be able to get this little tutorial from me as I kill time. Trevor Lawrence was 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17th. And now he's 8th.
Wow.
All right. So that's Trevor Lawrence. Let's go to our next player. It's Kyle Pitts. And boy, I think Kyle Pitts would be basically the easiest decision to make against Arizona next week because they are horrible against tight ends. And he's on fire. 3 straight games with 8 or more targets. But Kyle Pitts has not played a game yet this year with Kirk Cousins and Drake London. And he's played a couple of partial games, but not a full game. And I have no idea what it's going to look like.
If London even plays, by the way.
Yeah, I think they said he's expected to play or like they expressed optimism about him playing next week. I'm going to look that up now.
I don't think he practiced all last week, though, right?
No, but they had a short week. They played Thursday.
Yeah.
He may have practiced, actually.
Did he practice?
He may have.
I thought he was.
Let's look. It's not even a question. You start Pitts if London. Not only do you start Pitts, he's probably tight end 2. If he is in the rankings, like you're going to go McBride over him and then Pitts. But if London plays, how would you feel about him at Arizona?
Still feel great, right? The matchup, you said, is amazing. Weather-controlled environment. Love that. Cousins, everybody crapped on Cousins. And what happens? He gets a little bit more time in this offense, starts to get the timing down, starts to be getting the ball out fast. There were a lot of really good throws on tape from Kirk Cousins in this last game against the Bucs. Now, I know he has a history of just beating up on the Todd Bowles scheme. He understands how to beat that scheme. He's played against it a lot, and that's a factor for sure. But this Cardinals defense has quit. They quit. This coach is gone. This defense is horrific. They get run through every single week. I think he's one of the best plays on the whole slate. They finally figuring out how to use this talent. Maybe it's just because he's finally healthy. But he is unreal. He can't be stopped. It looks like Florida version of Kyle Pitts. You get him matched up one-on-one, any kind of man he'll beat. In zone, you can have him cross into areas of the zone and then just use his speed and size. What are you asking? If we're going to play him or if we're expecting another big week?
No, if we're going to play him.
Well, obviously he's a must-start player, I think.
He's a must-start player if London's out.
He's
Arizona, who's bad against tight ends. When you don't really have that many good tight ends right now, he's a must-start player anyway. But I just want to point out, Kyle Pitts had a really disappointing career, And it's really no coincidence to me that he's going crazy with Drake London out. Because Drake London usually gets double-digit targets. But yeah, I think you're going to start
Cousins too. Like I'll
other.
say this about that. Cousins' skill set is a better fit for Pitts than it is for London, versus Pennick's skill set is a better fit for London than it is for Pitts.
All right. That's an easy one, I guess. And congratulations if you advance with Kyle Pitts this week. Huge game, 45 fantasy points.
Unreal.
We're going to take a break and talk about Tyrone Tracy. Of the 5 big things that we're talking about, this is the one I have no research on. So, Dan, get your arm warmed up in the bullpen. You're coming in for Tyrone Tracy. We'll be right back on Fantasy Football Today.
When you need your sports news all the time,
we've got breaking news to bring to you.
CBS Sports HQ gives you a snapshot of all the sports that matter to you. When you need your sports in a snap, find it on CBS Sports HQ. Streaming free anywhere you are.
All right, big game from Tyrone Tracy Jr., who was started in 18% of leagues.
Yeah.
And he goes for 15 carries, 70 yards, 1 touchdown, 3 more catches, 27 yards, and a really nice touchdown catch against the Washington Commanders. Now, the competition steps up. Minnesota this week at home. They've been a little inconsistent. They've been very inconsistent against the run, and also defensive tackle Javon Hargrave left with an injury for Minnesota. But what do you make of the Giants' backfield? Because do you feel like it's been, since Scadaboo got hurt, basically a hot hand approach most weeks?
I think it was the case until, if you really look at the splits, what we should do is look at the splits with Kafka versus before Dable was fired. So I feel like during the Kafka stretch, it's been mostly Tracy getting the majority of the workload because he believes he can give them a better chance to win. It's honestly probably their second best, if not best, playmaker on the field at all times. I guess you can say Wandale. But Tracy really has shown the ability to give them versatility in their pass run game. You can do a better job of marrying the pass and run game if he's on the field, because he can do things like he did on that touchdown catch, which is, run a wheel route and then adjust to a back shoulder ball and make the catch because he's a former receiver. I think he runs hard. I think he's doing a good job of pacing his runs. The touchdown run was excellent, yards after contact. The problem is I don't have much faith he's going to do this against Minnesota. Again, he still could lose some red zone role. Some of the red zone touches, I should say, to Singletary he has in the past. I don't think that's something that's impossible. He's had fumbling issues both of his first 2 seasons, mostly his rookie season. That's led to him being pulled from games. It's not a player I trust to a major extent against them in a matchup like the Vikings, to be honest.
So before this game against Washington, in my opinion, Tyrone Tracy Jr. faced 3 defenses that are better against the run than Minnesota. Okay. 2 of them, I would say, one of them definitively better, and then the other 2, I guess, are close. But I see a lot of inconsistencies with Minnesota. But Green Bay, at Detroit, at New England. He had a really good game against Green Bay. 19 carries, 88 yards, 4 catches, 51 yards, 17.9 fantasy points. Against Detroit, he scored 16 fantasy points. I want to say that's the second most that any running back had scored all year. So now it's probably the 3rd or 4th most because the Rams guys did really well.
Right.
But 20 carries, 62 yards, and 3 catches for 68 yards. And then New England was a bad game, and he left with an injury. 10 carries for 36 yards, 1 catch for -3 yards. And then this game against Washington, 2 touchdowns. But I think what sticks out to me is in 3 of his last 4 games, he has 3 or 4 catches. And the one time he didn't was New England, and he left that game with an injury. So I hope that keeps up. If he gets 3 catches, he's doing a lot with the catches.
Right.
And you're probably going to have a double-digit PPR fantasy point game. Will it be great? I don't know, but
the issue is just like it's a ceiling cap situation with an offense unlikely, I would say, to score more than 1 or 2 touchdowns against the Vikings defense.
Yeah.
But, ride it out. He's probably better than a lot of the plays on the slate because he's actually getting, near 80, or he had near 80% snap share in this game, right? Wasn't it 79% in this game?
76.5%.
Yeah. Which you just don't get much.
Yeah, but you didn't get it. You don't get it consistently with him. It was
lately you have, though, because he's been the hot. Like they're not going to look at this game tape and be like, let's go back to a split backfield.
What are they going to do if they get to the 1 or 2 yard line?
That's a problem. It's not a guarantee to be Tracy, which is again why his ceiling is certainly capped. But you brought up a good point about the receptions and a little bit of work in the passing game. Just generally speaking, a weapon for them in that regard.
Yeah. All right.
Get to the Raiders matchup. It should be good.
Yeah. That's going to be potentially
It's
the
gonna
battle.
be devastating. The
Battle
Giants
for the number one pick.
No, the Giants are going to win that game and blow the number one pick.
Haven't you learned, and this is for all football fans, right? Like, haven't you learned that doesn't matter unless there's that generational player, which there isn't?
It does matter, though, if Mendoza keeps it up. If the Dozer goes into this college football playoff and Mendoza's way to a title and looks good doing it, you could get a haul for that first overall pick, the Giants. They could trade it back to a desperate team, or a stupid team, I should say, like the Jets. Sorry to Jets fans. They are a horrific franchise, somehow worse than the Giants, one of the only ones left. And get next year's one and a second early set, like just get a haul for the Dozer.
Okay.
What do you think of this nickname that I created for him, the Dozer?
You
Some people hate it. Some people love it.
I love it.
Okay, good. Most people hate it.
Based on all the interviews I've seen, you know who would love it?
Kirk Cousins.
The Dozer.
The Dozer.
He
He is
love
really, is he not just a reincarnation of Kirk Cousins?
Yeah, he's got this
So many ways.
affable, good-natured way to him. It's
Yeah.
fun.
No, I love him. I'm rooting for him. And I don't know. I haven't done film work on him. So I don't know. I can't wait to do it for Beyond the Box Score this summer, because usually I don't get to quarterbacks once the Giants have one. But I'm excited to see what I think of him, because he does have more athleticism than Cousins, for sure, did coming out. Arm talent-wise, like, I'm not sure. And I do worry that, like, Curtis O'Rourke or whatever his name, not Curtis O'Rourke. What was that kid's name who was quarterback for Indiana last year? Whatever it was like really good in that system too. It does feel a little system-y with Doza, but he comes up with big throws at big moments. The Dozer.
I watched him last year. One of the wildest games of the football season was Miami at Cal, which started 10 p.m. Eastern, and I was up super early the next morning for work or whatever. And it was a crazy Cam Ward comeback, crazy. And I never looked at Mendoza and thought, oh, he could be the number one pick someday. But that's how it works these days. And
yeah.
You know who else was like that I watched play Miami one year and couldn't believe he was a hyped prospect? Was Daniel Jones. Like, what? I remember Miami, but at least Mendoza had a good game.
He wasn't a hyped prospect, Daniel Jones. Only the Giants viewed him as
I guess that's true.
Prospect. Like, no one else to be like, oh, most people gave him a second round grade. The Dozer is going to get that first overall pick. Like, who else are you giving it to at this point? If you need a quarterback, you're going Doze.
Yeah, if you need a quarterback, yeah. All right, Joe Burrow is our next big topic, big thing. And he said he had one of his worst games, and he struggled. 5.5 fantasy points against Baltimore. And up next, it will be at Miami. But you go, oh, Miami, they're so easy. They've been pretty good defensively lately. They're running all over people. They're probably controlling the clock, and they haven't really faced a lot of good competition. But I liked the fact that the game's in Miami, right? We don't have to worry about it. This game yesterday was like -2 wind chill.
Agreed.
I like that it's in Miami. Let me ask you this. Is it as simple as if T. Higgins plays next week, we start Joe Burrow? If T. Higgins doesn't play, we have a decision to make.
That's fair to say we have a decision to make. I don't think I'll ever bench Joe Burrow personally. Like, I could use this as like a one-off game where he struggled, but most of the time he's delivering for you. The question I have is, like, Higgins could come back from the concussion, but like, what's the point to play? If you're the Bengals or Burrow, like, what is the point to play down the stretch? I don't know if they're going to bench these guys at some point or rest. Like, I'm a little concerned about that.
I'm not super concerned.
Okay.
Not for this week. Now, if they go out,
not for this week,
they go out and lose to Miami, then maybe.
All right, so let's keep it on this week. Burrow versus Miami in a great weather situation spot in Miami. I think he'll look good with or without Higgins.
Could always rain, but yeah, I mean, right. But we're thinking, looking at him without Higgins last year.
Yeah.
He scored 10.8 fantasy points at Cleveland. He scored 9 against Jacksonville, but he only let's get rid of that.
He was hurt.
He got hurt in that game, I think. Yeah. Oh, no, I'm sorry. I'm looking at this year. Where's my... Oh, here we go. Last year without Higgins. Here are his fantasy points at 6 point per pass and touchdown leagues. 8.1, 21.2, 14.9. Not good. And then 39.1, 41.7. So he's got that potential, but it is worth noting, right? It's 3 out of 5 games last year where he underperformed. Right. It's 2 games he was terrible. And 2 games this year. I think it was both Baltimore games without Higgins, right? He threw, like, did he have a good game against Baltimore 2 times ago, two matchups ago?
Yeah. Yes, he did.
23.2 fantasy points, but on 46 pass attempts,
Right.
Didn't exactly light it up. And then yesterday he stunk.
Right.
I watched 3 quarters of it. I didn't watch the fourth quarter, but to me, this was a game of missed opportunities. First drive is a really good drive for them. Jamar Chase has a drop, a really easy ball, just a bad drop. And then on the next play, a 15-yard sack out of field goal range. Then later in the first quarter, I believe, no, it was in the second quarter. Deep ball in the end zone would have been a 29-yard touchdown if it had been caught to Jamar Chase. It wasn't really Chase's fault. Looked like a pretty good throw to me, but Chase was kind of hand fighting, didn't see it until a little bit late. So that's an incomplete pass. Next play, another throw to Chase, a little too high, intercepted.
Right.
And you had a play later in the second quarter where Andre Iosivas got open deep. Ball was a little bit underthrown. Iosivas was contacted by Starks right as he was catching the ball. Incomplete pass. That could have been a 30-yard gain. So it's just a little bit off for Burrow. I think he's going to be fine. I'll read you something, though, what you think about this, because this is, again, like kind of out of my pay grade. This is from Bengals.com. A mere 17 days after Burrow throttled the Ravens in his storybook comeback. Wow. I didn't even realize like how over the top he throttled the Ravens.
He said it was Bengals.com.
Yeah, I didn't even
like the in-house beat writer.
That was oh my gosh.
All due respect.
This
you
is
have a job to do.
Let me keep reading it. It actually is good analysis in here, but after this first part. A mere 17 days after Burrow throttled the Ravens in his storybook comeback with 2 third-down laser touchdowns, Baltimore got him back with a tweaked look up front that sent the Bengals to a 3-for-15 day on third down. The new spacing from the Ravens' interchangeable front seven was apparently an effort to slow down the Bengals' effective double teams in the run game and force hesitation in pass protection with various players in various spots.
Wow. I apologize. I'm unfamiliar with your game, Bengals beat writer. This is great analysis.
Terrific. After the little
hyperbole to build up Joe.
What did you think about that? Interesting, huh?
That was interesting. I mean, I didn't see the tape on that, but I would like to see what the Ravens did to slow him down. I don't think it'll be something that can be replicated by a team like Miami on a short week or something like that, but it's just interesting.
Yeah, well, looking
these
forward.
Division games, they've seen these players the most. Like it comes down to this a lot. We've seen the Browns defense have so much success with Burrow over his career.
All right, last topic here. Our last big thing is Rashee Rice with Gardner Minshew. The matchups the next 2 weeks could not be more different. At Tennessee, which is do a cartwheel, and home against the Broncos. So what do you think?
I'm highly unlikely. It sucks because I do have Rice on 2 teams making it to the semis, but I'm highly unlikely to play him against the Broncos. He will be on my bench against the Broncos. I am debating benching him against the Tennessee Titans. I won't do it. It's much more likely that he's going to remain in my lineup, Adam. But
I'm going to start him against the Titans.
I think I have to, and I think we have to. But things could get real ugly real fast for Rice from a fantasy standpoint. We do not know we do not know how Minshew is going to read out this Andy Reid offense. It could end up being a totally different target share than we've grown accustomed to with the Chiefs. I'm just not entirely sure.
Okay, I'm going to try to help you out here. I'm 1 minute away.
I can even feel confident.
1 minute away from finishing this research here. So this is useless, but I'll give it to you anyway because it's better than having nothing to go off of. So last year he played for the Raiders, or Gardner Minshew. He was their starting quarterback for the first 12 weeks of the season. And if you look at Brock Bowers' production with Minshew and then after Minshew, he was, I guess, kind of worse with Minshew.
Yeah.
And then if you look at Jacoby Myers' production, well, he was, I guess, kind of worse with Minshew. So that's a little discouraging. That both
O'Connell was the best.
Better.
Probably the best we had.
What'd you say?
AOC was definitely better for that offense.
Yeah.
I look at it like Minshew, his whole career has been kind of up and down. He had a nice hot start. At one point, I thought he was the best quarterback potentially in that 2019 class, which is crazy, but he's fallen off. I just don't really know like how this offense will operate. I guess that's my biggest concern. Like most of Rice's production, Adam, I'm sure you feel this way, has been manufactured. I don't feel like it's been Rice dominating. And I think Jacob and I went over this past week. Like from all those advanced stat standpoint, Rice has not been very good this year. He has not been good at creating separation. He has not been good after the catch. He has no verticality to his game. So like he could be force-fed targets and become like this short area PPR. I don't want to say cheat code, but like someone who you can put in your lineup the rest of the season and get a certain floor amount of points in PPR leagues. And I'm fine with that. Like against the Titans, I'll leave him in my lineup for that upside. But it's so hard for me to buy into a player who's been struggling individually with now a backup quarterback.
But he's been really good. I mean,
fantasy-wise, he's been good. It's been a lot of force-fed targets.
So Jacob pointed this out to me last week on Beyond the Box Score. Rashee Rice and other Chiefs receivers are much better against zone than they are man. Like, they just don't really have a man beater. Rashee Rice's splits against zone and man are wild. Which is one of the reasons why I thought he was going to have a good game against the Chargers. The Chargers are one of the most zone-heavy teams in the NFL, and he really didn't have that good of a game. 7 catches for 50. What's too cold?
It's just you know how I feel about my conspiracy cold game take. I'm just joking.
Nah, yeah. Tennessee is 20th in man rate. They play a lot of zone, and who's they after that? Denver. Denver plays a lot of man. They're the third highest man coverage team. So Denver's going to be really tough. I mean, if you're telling me Denver was next week, obviously we can change our mind based on what we see in week 16. But if you're telling me that Denver was his week 16 game, I'm just probably low end number 2 receiver. I might start him over a guy like Justin Jefferson or something, but he's in
That's what I'm saying. Yeah.
But I think against Tennessee, I'm confident enough. I mean, their defense is just atrocious.
But you agree the ceiling is certainly capped.
Yeah, I'd have to say so.
That's the problem. Like he was a league winner in his early return. He's definitely no longer a league winner, I don't think, down the stretch run.
Probably not.
Maybe hopefully a supportive piece.
Well, hopefully, how'd your week 15 go?
Mine went really well. Exception of one league, the Office League. Shout out Adi. What do you think of this? In our Office League, it's a 16-team league, which I actually find really fun. It's the only one I'm in that deep. But he has an 8-team playoff in a 16-team league where if you're the 1 seed, you get nothing. You have to face the 8 seed. Do you think that's fair or unfair? Like, so I was the 1 seed and I only lost 2 games in the regular season. I had like 200 points more. I lost. It was my only loss of the weekend in fantasy. I lost to our friend, Adam London, who in really a gross matchup, like I had Odunze in my lineup and at 12:58, he was ruled out and the lineups were locked at that point. So I had to take that 0. That was really ridiculous.
So I heard about this.
Oh, you did hear about who told you about this, London?
I'm not going to tell you who told me about it. I heard about this controversy because.
So what do you think?
I thought you should have been. I thought anyone whose lineups locked at 12:55, as some platforms do and some platforms don't, and saw it like soon enough.
I saw it right away. I posted right to the message board.
Absolutely have been able to get Odunze out of their lineup.
I think so too.
And you weren't able to?
I was not able to.
Would it have made a difference in the game, in the outcome?
I don't think so. I think ultimately, I didn't even check back because I was so disgusted with my entire team's performance. Like I dominated the regular season and just looked horrific in this game. Let me see if it would have mattered. Actually, I don't think it did have because Pickens was so bad. No, I ended up losing by 16 points. I don't think it would have mattered.
Okay. I got a lot of heat for that take. I think I didn't explain it clearly enough. I wasn't saying at like 3 p.m. You'd be like, hey, I had real today.
It has to be right away.
Pretty much right away. Yeah. I mean, I would even say if somebody was like, oh man, I set my lineup and then I don't know, went to church or had something and I didn't know. And then at 2 o'clock or during halftime, I saw he was out. Can I put in a guy from a 4 o'clock game? I probably would do it, but I'm the most lenient commissioner in the world.
I just think the fact of the matter is I was trying to explain my case, and no hard feelings. Like I'm totally fine with it. My case was if I had any opportunity to avoid it and I didn't take that opportunity, then it's on me. But I had no option, right? Like he was announced at 12:58, and a minute I got that notification, I sent to the message board, like, can I make this change in my lineup? But it is what it is. It's fine. I just think I don't know how you'd set up a 16-team league with an 8-team playoff where the 1 plays the 8. Like, there just gives you literally it made the regular season Yeah, that's right. Spicy Jambalaya says the 1 seed not getting a bye is the bigger travesty. It makes the regular season worth nothing. Like toward the end of the year, Adam, once I realized that was how the playoffs were set up, I was like barely even caring about my lineups and like big decisions that league. So I was like, I'm the 1 seed, but what do I care? I may rather play the 7 seed. I don't know. And the fact of the matter is, like, I probably would have rather, but I don't know what the 7 seed did. My team was so bad, I might have lost anyway. No, I'm looking at it right now. I think I would have beat the 7 seed.
All right. So if you had given the first 2 seeds a bye, then you've got 3 matchups, but then you end up with 5 teams the next round.
No, you can't do that. You have to do a 17 playoff with 1 seed getting the bye.
17. Okay.
Yes.
That's what you do. Yeah.
And it's 16-team league. You don't need 8 teams in the playoffs anyway. You can do a 17 with a 1 getting the bye.
All right. Well, everybody, I hope you enjoyed today's show. Appreciate your comments. Appreciate you helping us out with our topics today. And that wraps up your 5 big things brought to you by Amazon Prime. Remember, Prime isn't just fast. It's your secret weapon for last-minute holiday wins. Forgot a gift for a friend or a family member? Need something for tonight's party? Prime gets it there quickly, turning last-minute panic into a smooth win. This season, you can count on Prime to deliver right when you need it most. Last-minute gifts delivered. It's on Prime. And Dan, you look like someone who's done all this holiday shopping. You're good to go.
No, I am a last-minute shopper, and I will be getting it done using a lot of Prime, as you just mentioned. Before we end the show, I want your final prediction on a couple things. One, I want you to give me your prediction on Miami football in the college football playoff. That's the start. 2, the one I'm more interested in is you circling back to a take you had preseason about Carson Beck trending toward being the number 1 overall pick in the NFL in the next NFL draft.
We're still on this.
We're never going off of it.
I don't even know if he's going to get drafted.
Okay. Isn't that what I told you at the time of your take?
Okay. Congratulations. It was a bad take. You're going to just kill me on this all year. Jeez, it's going to be 2035. You're going to be talking about
I might bring this up for the rest of our time, knowing each other. Yes.
My take is Texas A&M is very beatable.
Okay.
This is when Miami gets into trouble. Miami gets into trouble when they don't run the ball well. They've been very inconsistent, and they commit penalties. So you get a lot of 3rd and long, and they have to stay out of that. So what makes me really nervous is a few things. One is super loud stadium, and Miami has a penchant to go out to false start and pre-snap penalties. That's going to kill them if they fall into that trap. And the other thing is, I can't remember the name of the guy on Louisville, the wide receiver, Bell, I think.
Yeah, who got hurt.
He killed Miami, and he was the best receiver they've faced all year. Texas A&M has 2 really good wide receivers. Miami's got a good secondary, but it hasn't really been tested. So I lean A&M by like a point. I'd take Miami plus 3.5, but Miami's nasty. A&M's had a pretty damn easy schedule. This is
they have
best or second best team that they've faced pretty much. Well, no, they faced Notre Dame. I forget, and they beat them.
They beat Notre Dame week 2. Yeah.
Everybody's concerned about Carson Beck. A&M's quarterback, Marcel Reed, he is super inconsistent. He's thrown like 9 picks in 8 SEC games. So if we get after him, we're going to be good. We faced a lot of mobile quarterbacks. It's going to be a really good game, I think. Yeah. I lean A&M, but I think it's a good chance for Miami to win.
Okay. Right. I think Miami has a chance to win if they dominate on the line of scrimmage with their defensive line, which is certainly possible.
And A&M they have what's his name? Cassius something. They have this defensive end that's so good. The hell was his name? Cassius Howell. Whew. Miami has not. They've faced some good defensive ends, but there's not been a single game where they have been beaten at the line of scrimmage.
Yeah.
They have probably the best offensive line in the country, or top 2, top 3. So the trenches are going to be where this game's decided.
That's the penalties.
Both teams.
Where are you watching?
Bro, I have a Hanukkah party on Saturday at 2:00.
This happens to you all the time.
Games at noon. Yeah, well, when you have kids. And I'm very happy to go. I really want to go.
Okay.
So have you ever seen Ace Ventura?
Yeah, the original?
Original.
Yeah.
So my plan is to watch the first half at the house, maybe a little bit of the third quarter. Normal. Go to the party, and then pull an Ace Ventura. May I use your bathroom? Stay in there for an hour and a half, not using the bathroom.
But you're not actually going to do that. So what is your plan?
Come out and go, do not go in there.
Yeah. That's awesome, but you're not actually going to do that. I have
no idea.
So what are you going to do?
If I were throwing a Hanukkah party or any party, I would have the game on. Whatever.
Yeah. Agreed. I think you can keep a game on.
I don't think like knowing these people, they're very nice people, but they're not big college sports fans.
Could you ask him to throw it on mute?
I don't think he's going to be. No way. I'm not.
You're not even willing to ask that question.
No way. That's so.
Put on Is it rude?
Yeah, it's so rude. It's so.
I would if you approach it in a certain way. You say like, "Hey, man, I'm just like a diehard Miami fan. I live and die by the stuff. I haven't missed a minute of this game. I would really, if you could just throw it on a TV, don't like direct anyone's attention to it. Just have it on. And if anyone asks anything about it, you can turn it off. Like,
it's so rude. No, if you're throwing a party, they were nice enough to invite us. There's no way I am doing that. They're super nice people.
It's probably just like a regular party, right? Like it's just like you're hanging around, you're drinking, you're talking. There's not like games or anything that need attention. So you just hang around, everyone's talking. No one's worrying about that TV on in the background as you kind of peek toward it.
Be honest,
watch every single play.
I don't really know the crowd that well. So
that's a problem. Yeah.
It's just, I know these people, but I don't really know the crowd that well. So we'll see what happens. But if the game's really tight, I'm probably go to my car.
That's what I'm saying. Like, I don't know what you do if the game's tight. You're not going to, what are you going to do? Sit in there and talk about your week?
And you know what else? Like, I would say I would turn off my phone and DVR it. We got 2 NFL games on Saturday too. So I got to watch those at 5:00.
Right.
No, I don't know, man. It's going to be tough.
That's
all right.
True.
Thank you for indulging me. Have a great day, everybody. We will talk to you tomorrow on Fantasy Football Today.